What's up guys, welcome back to another video. So I know it's been a while. I just got out of work, so I'm actually in my work clothes. So go ahead and do a video for you guys. Talking about the title, there are a lot of you guys out there early getting into this platform, the 10th gen Civic Si, and trying to figure out what you want to do, what kind of mods you should do, what kind of mods are out there, what website you should get them from, etc, and everything else. Before I continue with the video, all of my mods are in the description if you guys want to check it out, from the power mods all the way down to my wheel specs and what I'm lowered on and everything, okay? So, because there's always going to be that one person that doesn't ever read the description. So check it out. So this is going to be somewhat of a guide to help newcomers what parts and what they should get and what they should look for when it comes to modding your car. Now, I am not responsible if anything happens to your car. I am just letting you know what options you have available to the car, which ones are popular, which ones are least popular, and why, and all the other good stuff. So first things first, because everybody knows that the 10th gen Si does come with a turbo, the 1.5 liter, everybody always wants to get those intake sounds, or I guess you can say the turbo sound, the whoosh sound. The people always ask what blow-off valves. You don't need a blow-off valve on this car. If you do want to get some intake sounds or some turbo sounds, get an intake. That is where you should start first. The nice thing about that is you have a pretty good variety of what you can get for this car. Now, intake wise, PRL Cobra cold air intake, 271 MA performance engine, Misimoto, K&N, AEM. These all range from cold air intakes to short ram intakes, or like the one that I'm using, the 271. I like to call it a hybrid intake because it has the characteristics of both cold air intake and a short ram. So it is set up like a short ram in a box, and then all the way at the end there is a snorkel, and then in the box there's a snorkel that feeds colder air from lower side of the bumper so that it doesn't just get hot boxed in there, if that makes sense. But the most popular one that we can get for this car is the PRL Cobra cold air intake. They do also offer that in a short ram if you guys want to go that route. A lot of people end up going with a short ram, especially where it's raining a lot, because everyone's scared about hydrolocking. And look, I'm not going to say your car is not going to hydrolock, but the chances of it are very slim. Even PRL has stated that chances are very slim for anything hydrolocking in your car, unless you're literally driving it in water and revving the engine so it can suck in the air. But regardless, I went the 271 intake because that's what I wanted to go with. I did like the design behind it, and I don't regret getting it. It does make a good whoosh sound when you let off the throttle when the car is moving, but it's not as loud as the PRL. The PRL Cobra intake is definitely a lot louder if you're trying to get something with this car. There's nothing wrong with the other ones out there, MA Performance, Engine, AEM. Just, I'm stating the fact that the 271 and the PRL are the two most competitive ones out there, and they also do have a full catalog from their company, and I'll go more over that throughout the video. With both the 271 and the PRL, you do get two varieties with it. You do get a street version and a race version. The street version of the cold air intake, you do not need a tune. I repeat, you do not need a tune, which is what I got, because I got my cold air intake before I got Ktuner. Now, if you get the race version, or you upgrade to the race version, which you are allowed to, you can go on their website, get the race version of the intake. Can't go wrong with either one of these intakes. The ones I don't recommend are the short rams, because you are feeding it hot air. But like I said, it is all on you. These are the different ones that are most popular on these cars. Depending on which version of intake that you get when it comes to the 271 intake or the PRL intake, if you get a tune from TSP or Phereable, they ask you the questions, that way you can get the right tune according to what you have done to the car. The next one's going to be exhausts. Hatchback exhaust to this car. There's a lot out there. There's a good amount out there. I'm only going to name a few that I've seen around the whole forums and that I've seen around Facebook, and the Facebook pages, Instagram, YouTube, because there are plenty more out there that I'm going to name that are not on this list. You have Greddy DDR, Greddy SP Supreme, NVIDIA Q400, Type R retrofit, full race exhaust, Borla, MA Performance, and 271 offer a catback exhaust for these vehicles. They all come in different sizes and different specs, but if you do want to get the most gains out of your vehicle, it is recommended to get a full 3-inch catback exhaust. Sound wise, guys, you just got to go out there and listen to them. I know YouTube doesn't really do justice to the vehicle. For example, my car doesn't sound that loud when on camera, but in person it gurgles, it pops, and it sounds pretty good. I don't think I want to go any louder, and I think I'd be a little upset if it was quieter. So I feel like my full race exhaust is the right amount. You can check out the video of how it sounds right up here. The nice thing about this is that all these exhausts and companies, they come with either a 2-tip, 3-tip, or a 4-tip. MA Performance, I believe, is one of the few ones out there that offer a 4-tip. I think there's also ARC exhaust out there, HKS. Like, there's so many different companies out there that offer a catback exhaust for this vehicle. You just gotta go out there and get whichever pricing you think is right for you and what you want to do. A lot of people are just gonna go with a resonator delete and a muffler delete. By all means, all two, you get a custom exhaust if that's what you want. If that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's all just in sound. If you want to get the quietest one out there, a lot of people like going with a Type R retrofit exhaust because a lot of people do not like the HDMI set that comes with this car. I was one of them. I got an exhaust pretty early with this car, and I've heard a Type R exhaust in person with a stock downpipe and front pipe. It doesn't sound too bad. It is definitely a lot better than the stock HDMI one. But if you do want to get something quiet that looks presentable, the Type R retrofit isn't that bad. And again, guys, it's all in preference. It's a sound. It just depends on what you want. So you just got to make some research right there and see what you want to do. The next one I'm going to talk about, guys, is the downpipe and front pipe. With these options, and because the whole new regulations going around in the nation, correct me if I'm wrong, but before 2020, you were able to get a catless downpipe. Now, because of the regulations going on, a lot of these companies do not offer catless downpipes anymore. Unfortunately, you do have to get a catted downpipe, which a high flow cat is included with the downpipe that you get. You get a downpipe from PRL, 271, Rv6, which was what I have, Megan, MA Performance, PLM, which is a rep company, Skunk 2, and you can get some from eBay. It just depends on where you guys go. A lot of these downpipes you can buy with a front pipe as a combo deal, I guess we could say. With the Rv6 downpipe, you do need to get the Rv6 front pipe because it is clamped on through a V-clamp. It does not have your typical installation like your other downpipes. With the Rv6, again, you do have to get the Rv6 downpipe paired with the Rv6 front pipe. Catted or not, you do got to get both of those. And that pairs up to a 3-inch exhaust. With other brands, you can mix and match because they use the same type of installation style according to the installation. As long as the piping matches, you can mix and match whatever you guys want onto it. A lot of people like staying brand name to it, so if they get a PRL downpipe, they want the PRL front pipe. I opt for the Rv6 downpipe and front pipe because, one, it was the cheapest one out there that I could find, and it came in fairly quickly. I got it within like the week of when I ordered it, maybe a few days after. A lot of people also run a downpipe with stock OEM front pipe. I know a few people that run an aftermarket downpipe and run the OEM front pipe. There really isn't any wrong choice with it. The one I will talk about is the PLM. Is that one, I feel like that one is the luck of the draw. A lot of people say they've had nothing but good with that brand, but a lot of people also say within a couple months the weldings were starting to crack, or it didn't align right the first time and they had to send it back, or something else happened with it. So I'm not talking down on that company, I'm just saying what I've read and what I've witnessed. So it is up to you if you want to grab it. That one is the cheapest one out there. But if you do want to get something a little bit with a little bit more reputation, Rv6 is not a bad choice. Like I said, that's what I have. Or you can save up and get a PRL downpipe or a 271 downpipe. Intercooler and charge pipes. You have PRL, 271, Mishimoto, engine, PLM, again, Greddy. There are two types. There is one bigger than the other, AEF and agency power. A lot of these you can use with or without the OEM charge pipes. So some of these you do have to buy some charge pipes to link up with the intercooler, and some of these you can use the OEM charge pipes. So it just depends on which ones you guys get. Some of these brands are bigger than others. I opt for the 271 intercooler because it was the biggest one on the market that came with charge pipe. It was surprisingly also the cheapest on the market when it came to the whole kit. Just like the downpipe and front pipe, a lot of people do get, for example, a Greddy intercooler, and they do get like AEM charge pipes or something to make it work. You can mix and match these parts so long as they fit and so long as they are the right sizing. That way you guys can get the ball rolling with these aftermarket parts. There are plenty of more other out there that I did not name, but like I said, these are just from what I'm looking at. And also a lot of other brands, like I'll say PRL for example, you have to buy the charge pipe separately, and I believe it was a little bit over 1,000, I think closer to 1,100, unless the time that I was looking at was a completely different price. I was able to get my intercooler and charge pipes from 271 for about 850 bucks shipped. All right, the next one is going to be a turbo inlet piping. A lot of people like saying that you are fully bolt-on when you have intake, downpipe, front pipe, exhaust, and intercooler, because how the car performs, because the turbo inlet piping doesn't really do that much unless you are, let me rephrase that. The turbo inlet piping isn't worth it unless you already are going big turbo or have a big turbo going to be installed into the car. If anything, you're just going to be getting sound, you're going to be getting minimal power gains from it, so it really isn't worth it unless you are planning to go above and beyond with the vehicle. You guys know more. I've only seen a PRL 271 and was able to find for this vehicle, again, unless I was looking at the wrong areas, but 271 and PRL are the top-notch companies out there that are going above and beyond for this vehicle. Now, in theory, that is already going to be done with full bolt-ons, but I'm going to go ahead and mention two more things in here because a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you forgot this, or oh, you forgot that, or you didn't mention this. Look, I'm only talking about the physical bolt-ons: intake, downpipe, turbo inlet piping, intercooler, exhaust. That's really what it means to be full bolt-on to me. A lot of other people have different ideas of what full bolt-on means to them. So a lot of people are telling me I'm already full bolt-on, even though I'm still missing a big turbo. I'm still missing the turbo inlet piping, but everyone's saying I'm full bolt-on. There's a handful of them saying I'm not. So what does full bolt-on mean to you? Like, just let me know in the comment section, that way we can discuss about it right there. But I'm going to mention two more things that you can do to this car when it comes to the full bolt-on when you have this. Talking about tunes. A lot of these parts you do not need a tune. Some intercoolers do not require a tune. Some intakes do not require a tune. Some downpipes do not require a tune because they come with it. So with the downpipe, you can run a defouler and you will not need a tune. The only problem with not running a tune on some of these parts is your air-fuel ratios are going to be all over the place. You're not going to be able to diagnose the car. You're not going to be able to understand if the car's knock control is too high or everything else, you know. So can't go wrong with either ones that I'm going to discuss. You have Ktuner and you have hondata. Everybody and their mom is going to neglect you and tell you and point in your face that you need to get Ktuner for the SI and Honda is only for the Type R, which it is recommended. You can still get Honda for these vehicles. I believe Powermetric offers tunes and programs with Honda for this car. Flex Fuel, Stage 1 tune, stage, depending on what you're trying to get. With Ktuner, you do have a bigger variety when it comes to the tunes, not by much, but you do have two tunes that are available from off the shelf. Two-Step Performance, which is tuned by Derek Robinson, and Phereable, tuned by John Vega, if I remember correctly. They both offer Stage 1, Stage 2 Flex Fuel, and they also offer a race version of this car, which problem with running those R tunes is you do need to run minimum 93 octane, which here in California, you do need to run 1 gallon of E85 and the rest 91 from an empty tank. I'm running the Phereable Stage 1 tune. I have no issues with it. I am looking into running a gallon of E85 into this vehicle just so I can control my knock control a little bit. It's been running a little too high lately. But again, guys, nothing beats a custom tune for this car. I'm going to be running the Phereable Stage 1 tune until I upgrade the clutch and I also upgrade my turbo. When that happens, then I'll be looking for a custom tune. To me, it is a little pointless to go get a custom tune for this car if I'm going to keep throwing more parts into it. I don't see your point in that. So what a lot of people like doing is they get an off-the-shelf tune from TSP or Phereable or Powermetrics, and then they go ahead and get a custom tune when they're ready to go, when they have everything set for the vehicle. Last one I'm going to talk about, guys, is big turbos. PRL, they get a whole kit from their website and you get to choose the turbo sizing and what you want to get. 271 has two different types of turbos, W1 and a W2. One's bigger than the other, so one has less boost flag, one's going to have more boost flag, but the bigger one is able to hold more power. Rv6, which is the one that I'm going to be looking at, just the MHI upgraded OEM turbo, which is slightly bigger than the OEM one that you have right here, but I have not seen anybody run it reliable. There's a couple videos out there, and I believe Edge Motorsports have talked about trying to upgrade their turbo with that one because they like testing products out before they sell it to their customers, and they've had nothing but bad experience with it. So I'm just throwing that out there. The three big turbos out there that you really want to look out for is Rv6, a PRL kit, or the 271. Bottom line with this, guys, is You can actually go all PRL or all 271 when it comes to this particular platform. They've done nothing but just improve and drop quality parts for this vehicle. I am satisfied with what I've done to the car, and I still have plenty of more to get done with it when it comes to the full bolt-on terms. And when it doesn't come to the full bolt-on terms, I still have to look into the big brakes, still have to look into big turbo. I'm even considering going flex fuel now that I work a lot closer to home. Also, if you are driving a hatchback sport or the 1.5 liter turbo base model, some of these parts will match to your car. You just have to make sure you get the non-SI version. I believe the intake is the only one that is the difference with these vehicles. The downpipes, the intercoolers, I believe are the same for both vehicles. And yes, I know there are more parts you can get to this car, like the rear motor mount, the strut bar, suspension, the flex fuel kit, but I mainly wanted to talk about the bolt-on parts because that's what everybody is trying to figure out what they want to do first. There really is no right or wrong way of what you want to do to the car, in what order. I actually went with an intake first, then exhaust, and then I went with Ktuner because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get some cool intake sounds, I wanted to make sure my exhaust gurgled, and then I wanted to get a little bit more boost, and I was satisfied with how the way I went. A lot of people say get Ktuner first, but I also wanted to make sure that I did not buy a lemon. I wanted to break the car in about 5,000 miles. That way, before I decided to tune it, I would know that everything was fine on the car, and so far, knock on wood, everything has been fine. I'm about maybe 22,000 miles on it right now, and it's actually going to go in a little less because I did cut my mileage in half by picking up this new job. Horsepower wise, it all depends on what tune you get, guys, and where you're located in the nation pretty much, or I guess you can say in the world, because of different elevations, different dynos. But typically with all these bolt-ons and your stage 1 tune, I'm not going to talk about E85 and stage 2 and custom tune because those are all different, but typically with fully bolt-on stage 1 tune from either Phereable or TSP, you're looking around 235 to 245 wheel horsepower and about 270 to 280 foot-pounds of torque. Depending on where you are located, the dyno is going to read different. Does that make sense? So that's typically where it is on map 3, I believe, when you're pushing the most PSI from the tune. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to discuss about it down there. I'm pretty sure, like I said, I forgot a couple of brands out there. So let's go ahead and talk in the comment section. What have you guys done to your vehicle? What are you guys trying to do? Where are you guys located? Do you guys have E85? Because here in Oxnard, I got one E85 station. So that's why I'm also contemplating. I'm probably going to be doing the 1 gallon E85 to control my locking sensor. So it's all good and bad. So let's go ahead and see what's up. I'm sure you guys have seen it from my Instagram. I don't know if it's a sponsorship or if I should just say they gave it out, but Hybrid Racing did reach out to me and they sent over a full shifter assembly with cable bushings, the shift knob, a couple shirts, the banner. Like, they sent a good amount of stuff to me so that I can install in the vehicle. So if you guys are following me on Instagram right here, Castillo_2240, you guys would have seen that picture. So again, I don't know if it's a sponsorship. I don't want to call it a sponsorship, but I just want to say thank you if you guys are watching that video, because I just want to let you guys know that I'm going to be installing that sometime this week. I just want to make sure that I have more than enough time throughout the day that I can get a quality video going for you guys. So you guys have always told me to upgrade to a QD shifter or Hybrid Racing. Well, here's the chance. I'm going to go ahead and film all that, and I'm going to let you guys know my thoughts and opinions and everything else in between on that install. I will see you guys in another video. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a good day. Peace.